So today we're talking about making a fund in Japan based around things that you can eat from vending machines. Yeah, welcome to the news. Stay till the end to find out how we get there. So we're just kind of joking around, but at the same time serious, which is what this podcast is kind of always based on, by talking about making a fund that's based in Japan, in a sense that corresponds to like more or less vending machines that are actually from America. So like from being someone from the west side of the world, if possible, if like you like that side, the other side of the world, and you wanted to spend time there and like go move there, for example, it's an opportunity, a way to try to move to the Japan region, if possible, conceptually, to be able to just try to like reverse the style, so to speak, because like more or less the vending machines are pretty prominent and popular in Japan, so that's why it's almost like an homage to be able to use this strategy to be able to make vending machines in America, to have it as an investing process and strategy to make an investing fund and company in Japan that's run by someone who's from the West, or such as, you know, yours truly, or anyone else conceptually from the West, if you will, to spend more time on the East, and then like develop a fund, meaning an investment fund corresponding to vending machines that is from, for example, something such as automatedrt.com. Automatedrt.com is like a kiosk company that in essence makes hot food that's ready to go, and it's like sort of futuristic and modernized, that corresponds to the significantly massive, so to speak, vending machine markets in Japan. So it's like an homage, something that can sort of vibe with the culture in an existing way, by conceptually connecting with Automate DRT, which is a company that's also sort of backed by Kevin Harrington, who's one of the original sharks from Shark Tank, the original Shark Tank show in America, when it first started years and years ago. So Automate DRT just corresponds to having hot food, hot and ready, that uses unique technology, that has also existing brands that are significantly well branded for food, to be able to have a different distribution avenue for that food. So like fast food, for example, or like cakes that are highly known and highly well branded, already well branded foods that are distributed through these mechanics and mechanisms of vending machine processes that have significantly, useful heating also mechanics within the machines. So they're very attractive to people in America which are not used to vending machines, and so this culture can cross over by actually making a company in Japan to be able to bring the culture, bring the vibe, bring the connectivity to the culture, ideally to be able to make a means and a connection with a localized partner in Japan, to be able to develop that company, to be able to have a reason to, somehow move through the process for developing, the systems and the documentation to validate staying over there, and then trying to functionally connect more unique items from Japan, or from America to Japan at the same time, being an affiliate, following that initial concept that sort of follows the vending machine process, to lead the charge for the Japan Fund. Japan Investing Fund, to bring also more money from America to Japan, which they would like that perhaps too, in an ideal sense, and then just have that gateway available, which there is sort of somewhat of an ally situation between the two to begin with. So ideally bringing some more cash flow towards Japan, while at the same time leveraging a investment fund and increasing revenues from innovative American companies is a unique strategy. I would hope to imagine on the side of the Japanese side, having a vessel, if you are from the West, is in some extent to be a vessel that can connect that avenue for Japan, is something that could be conceivably attractive. So on the second part of this, we'll shift gears into the concept that relates to the stock market game, something that is called the stock market game, which is by a company called the Stock Market Game, which is based out of New York City. It is meant for teaching the stock market to kids, for example, and this is like kind of the purpose why Dinky Tech and Change for Games Studios was made, in other words, was developed, is the mindset that tries to develop all businesses, every single business in the world, to a game, basically using marketing as the guise, developing demand to begin with, and then moving into the middle, which is marketing, basically storytelling, and then ending with supply as the hero of the story, developing that mindset, the conceptual template for any business to become the hero of the story, of the demand that they're trying to serve into. And so the stock market game is just a good example of trying to remind us of our purpose of Dinky Tech and Change for Games, to be able to try to develop a more gamified sense of not only making music but making business music at the same time, by having coalescing fluorescent connections to sound and frequency, in other words, people frequency, human frequency interactions, to be able to make fun and ideally interesting games similar to the stock market game, by taking things that are sort of serious and dumbing them down for so they're simplified into kids games that are just meant to be for fun, and then by accident you can make profit. That's the way that ideally the world can be someday, so that everybody's playing games basically, and the stock market game is just about that. It's sort of resonating with a very core, very young audience, to teach the essence of the fundamentals of the stock market in the form of a game. And this is meant to just resonate with childhood and connecting, having fun with finances, which was never really offered when I was a kid necessarily, and it's just not necessarily a common consistent thread that's offered in every school system and every consistent upbringing process that seems like it should be pretty standard, since money is pretty standard in society, and it almost sounds like it doesn't make any sense for there not to be a standardized money course that corresponds to connecting that with any given societies in life. So it's an homage to trying to full circle be in a better place, in a better mindset place, to develop a fund and more funds to develop a more aggregate global culture, a more aggregate global connection to the idea and the ideation of change for games, changing for games, having a game-changing mindset, which Japan also has a very gamified culture, I suppose you could say, and at least an intention to leverage a gamified sense of society to a certain degree based around whatever animation is representative of, in terms of the animation connection to their culture, to that specific culture of Japan, and nonetheless sort of bringing that full circle to gamifying businesses like the stock market game, to be able to more or less have business music resonate in every single company, by trying to really have unique marketing sort of take hold in the marketing space in terms of the future of businesses, because in essence marketing is what in essence speaks and communicates as though it is the energy that corresponds to, similar to a human being, and the words that they say being representative of their energy and their messages and their purpose, that marketing is the messages that speak for businesses, for example. And so having the ability to change that into more fun experiences, more fun messaging, like a water park, just kind of like a water park. If you're going to a water park, you have a bunch of different rides, and we want businesses to be like that in the new world, in the future, where we have all businesses be like water parks, basically, where you're flying around from one slide to another, and you go from one place to another, similar to, I have a phone application called Text Now, and Text Now makes my phone kind of more fun, in my opinion, than before, because it likes to serve me business advertisements. Text Now is a free phone app that gives me free phone use because it gives me advertising, is what I meant to say. But for me, the actual advertising is so entertaining because it's all these different business companies that are being advertised that are unique, and they're not random like when I used to watch television in the 1990s, which is random commercials, so that in essence every single little advertisement that pops up is actually entertaining. Even though they're not that actually entertaining, it's entertaining because I like the nature of the company in of itself, but the advertising itself could be more entertaining itself. is a part of what I guess I'm talking about, it being like a water park at the same time, because I already like the companies. So if those companies also had experiences in their messages like they were a water park, like I was having fun, like I was at a water park, like every single next commercial was like going on a ride, and I was getting these weird messages, which artificial intelligence is already capable of writing those types of commercials easily nowadays, speaking to an audience member such as myself for these type of niche items that, for example, I'm consuming on the Text Now application. That's the idea of business music. That's the idea of true business music, is making the feeling like I'm riding down a water slide, like I'm experiencing, like, for example, if these companies had really, really fetching, more interesting advertising. But that's just me personally, because I like films and I like things that are weird anyways. I like weird music and I like weird films and comedies and things like this. So I'm a little bit unique, or I have a unique taste in that respect. But nonetheless, that's what business music correlates to. That's what the essence of change for games correlates to. That's what the essence of making businesses fun correlates to, is making them all like water parks. So you're not only inferring an education, getting education, in other words, from new and interesting services that can benefit you like an asset, but also you get to experience it like a water slide at a water park. A water slide at a water park. And that's business music nonetheless, because people experience enjoyment like childhood, like being a child, and it like also connects more at the core, like more at the aggregate core of the root connection of a child, of childhood, to be able to teach them like the stock market game, so that fundamentals in their own unique way that also correspond to who people are as characters, who their character is, are able to resonate to them and attach to them and link to their central nervous system in a unique way, so that when they grow up, that they are able to accommodate and connect to that style of learning, that unique style of growing themselves by having an attachment also to money that fundamentally has a unique growing property, like water to a plant. This money foundational energy of education is like water to a plant, to human beings, to human mindset, to human connection to finance, which is what I call spiritual finance, which is what's the purpose of this whole podcast, is to make that connection between money and water of a plant. Money and water of a plant. That's what spiritual finance to me is all about. That's what changing for games is all about, and business music is all about, is trying to make businesses, which sometimes are boring and lame and not enjoyable, into something enjoyable, into something that connects and resonates with children, but not only that, but also educates and makes it enjoyable, like an experience that corresponds to riding on a water slide at a water park and feeling like you're at a water park when you're watching advertisements, like on the Text Now mobile application, which is a free phone application that I use, and it also serves me advertisements that I enjoy that are just, slightly missing the element of feeling like I'm at a water park, because the advertisement videos could be so crazy and interesting, which is kind of a joke. But obviously artificial intelligence is capable of developing those types of videos at the same time. So hopefully this speaks to the new world and new world potential of making games and games all over the place, like a water park, like water slides everywhere around the whole entire world, because that's the type of business that we can construct now with the new world potential of using AI to develop new business messages and message experiences and marketing of businesses. And that's called business music, in my opinion, to resonate hopefully more fundamentally with the vibes of other people and the flow that they want to flow in and that they want to be in. So that's the ideation, after all, is that also that speaks to a different type of opportunity everywhere in the world, in every country in the world, in essence, that people have the opportunity to make these types of businesses and business messaging by connecting demand to supply and making these really fetching, peculiar commercials that are experiences like riding on a water slide. And that is what is speaking for a company, to give it a personality and a personification that corresponds to something similar to doing vending machines and a vending machine fund from Japan, for example, which has its own personality as a culture in of itself, as a culture, as a new culture brand called the world culture, the new world culture of business, that corresponds to the new stock market game. The new stock market game that is interesting and is in schools and being taught by to children, because in essence money is a unique game that corresponds to a unique avenue of perspective development in of itself, and you have to learn obviously what the stock market is to be able to have that perspective shifting and unique avenue of etching out your own niche ways to develop a way to carve out your own perspectives about money, about the stock market, because you have to learn about it to begin with. And that's what is great about the stock market game, and reflecting upon Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios and the purpose for the avenue of trying to find a new way for the new world in the future to be able to hone in on games for change, and changing every single business, just like changing every single old song in music into fun and new and interesting vibes of new different songs that speak to higher purpose and higher potential to all people in the actual music industry, but also all the industries of all business to be able to resonate with like business music, so that business music is chiming in into the core foundation of trying to illuminate and exemplify all human beings and all humanity and all business music and all harmony among all human beings, to connect all of our brains to the global philanthropy energy grid, so we care for nothing except solving problems and developing problem-solving solutions from in all the different avenues that we can as humans, by solving problems in the game of business that's meant to solve problems in general by developing philanthropy energy, and then thereby also developing the global philanthropy energy grid, and also thereby the global good deeds economy. The global good deeds economy. Yeah. And that's about all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye. And let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's push for world peace every single day. And also, let's remember to try to clear the animal shelters. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world, because we can foster all the shelter animals. We can adopt all the shelter animals in the world. We can rescue all the shelter animals in the world. And we can also hire the shelter animals as healers. We can also hire the shelter animals as healers all throughout the world, so that they don't have to be mistreated in animal shelters. And we can clear the animal shelters, and we can hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities. Hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities, because they also work for free, and they could use better purpose and use better jobs and be able to add value and be therapeutic energy for humans and humanity, to help us be more harmonious as humans and among humanity for all the animals in the world, to clear all the animal shelters, to try to get them to transition their energy in terms of therapeutic energy to all humans, so we can clear the animal shelters to add value to humanity in terms of harmony if possible. And let's push for world peace every single day and clear the animal shelters every day. That's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye.